Unfriended is actually a really good movie. You guys are just mean. But notice how I said it's a good movie and not a good horror movie, because yeah, this movie isn't scary in the slightest. Which I know, big surprise, a movie called Unfriended isn't scary, but yeah, this movie isn't scary at all, unless you're afraid of this. Then it's the most terrifying movie in the universe. But for most people, yeah, this movie isn't scary at all. Which in my case isn't exactly fair, because I'm gonna be real with you guys. There has not been a single horror movie that's actually scared me before. From psychological horrors to crappy B movies to gross out movies, not a single horror movie has actually managed to frighten me. Maybe it's because I know that the movie's trying to scare me, therefore it will never actually scare me. It's kind of like a reverse psychology thing. Actually, that's not entirely true. There is one movie that I watched recently that actually scared me, but it wasn't like, that's scary. It was more existential dread. And that movie was Stephen King's The Mist. If you haven't seen The Mist, it will ruin your day, let me tell you. It's also the only Stephen King movie that's managed to scare me, because most Stephen King movies, in fact all of them, don't scare me. Because I know that every single monster and supernatural thing that's in Stephen King books comes from the Dark Tower universe, it just makes it less scary. Now I know that all these monsters and demons are coming from a world of gunslingers and animals, guardian things. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm just saying that it's kind of unfair for me to say that this movie isn't good because it wasn't scary. Because in my defense, nothing scares me, okay? Sorry if that sounds like I'm bragging, but it's just the truth. So yeah, what is this video about again? Unfriended, that's right, let's talk about Unfriended. Unfriended is a 2014 horror thriller movie about teenagers, Skype, and ghosts. Basically, the main gimmick of this movie is that the entire thing is shot over Skype, like webcams and stuff, and it's kind of like a screen recording of a laptop, and all the spooky things happening is like pop-ups and creepy things and glitches on the screen. That's where the horror comes from. Basically, the story is there was this girl named Laura, and she was cyberbullied to, death, basically. And a lot of the kids who were involved in this movie were involved in her suicide. And Laura came back from the dead to screw with them and kill them. It's kind of like a really insane Lieutenant Lick Me video. You guys remember Lieutenant Lick Me? Yeah, I do. Unfortunately. Or fortunately. I can't really tell anymore. But yeah, I really dig this movie. Obviously, I'm a sucker for a unique premise and unique style. I mean, two of my favorite movies in the world, The Revenant and Lighthouse, have two really distinct styles. I just like movies that try something new, what can I say? And it's done in a really good and really convincing way. Like sometimes the main character will type something and then delete it because she was deciding not to type it, or typing something and then messing up while she was typing. It's really good. There are multiple tabs open, her desktop is super messy, and the most realistic part about it is that her and all her friends are complete human garbage. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this is probably the most realistic depiction of teenagers in, anything, honestly. That's just my opinion, okay? Don't get all mad. But like, come on, the teenagers in this movie are just so realistic. They're all such pieces of garbage. They're two-faced, they're bullies, they're super immature, they're super horny. I mean, when I went to high school, everyone acted like this. Except for my friends, because my friends were cool. And it's not just me that likes this movie. Even James A. Janice, aka Dead Meat, aka the king of all horror movies YouTuber, loves this movie. So it's not just me. And even though I didn't say this movie scared me, because it didn't really, there are some genuinely creepy moments, like the scene with Val where she's like not really moving and it looks like the screen is frozen, but then they start texting her and you see the phone is like moving in the background. So she's actually, the screen isn't frozen, she's just frozen. And it's actually a really good scene. Also, the death scenes in these movies are really fun, they're really gory and really horrible, really creative. And the ghost has like a really sick, twisted, demented sense of humor. She's kind of like an internet troll, and I really like it. Honestly, I don't see really anything that wrong with this movie. I don't really see any flaws, other than the effects. I mean, the scene with the knife in the eye is just like, what the heck? It looks awful. And even though I like this movie, I will admit, watching it for the first time was horrible, because I watched it with my parents, and teenage angst, and teenage horniness, and yeah, don't watch this one with your parents, guys. And yeah, in my opinion, this is one of the most underrated horror movies of all time, and it's just because it gets so much hate. And yeah, in my opinion, this is one of the most underrated horror movies of all time. And it's not because it's some kind of masterpiece or because no one knows about it. It's just because it gets so much hate that it doesn't really deserve. The only truly awful part about this movie is the title. It makes me cringe whenever I hear it. Yeah, it's kind of clever, and I kind of like the poster. It's like searching up all the names of the actors and stuff, but the name, it's so cringy. And that's coming from a guy who uses cringy unironically. But yeah, the movie still didn't scare me because, of course it didn't scare me, it's Unfriended. But if you guys think that you know a movie that will scare me, please, put it in the comments, because I have seen a lot of horror movies. Whenever Halloween comes around, me and my brother, we binge watch as many horror movies as we possibly can. So if you guys know any horror movies that you think is terrifying, leave it in the comments, or tell me the horror movie that scared you out of your mind. The horror movie that crippled you, that didn't make you want to leave your house, that ruined your psyche. Leave it in the comments, because I'm curious, and I would love to watch a horror movie that actually scared me for once. Yeah, and so far, nothing scared to me than The Mist. And it wasn't even because of the monsters. Mrs. Carmody, you are terrifying.